Good evening, everyone. It's 8 p.m., so we'll begin our general session today, open session. We will start with item 3.01, the land acknowledgement statement and mission statement. We acknowledge that the Franklin-McKinley School District and our schools are located in the Muwekma Ohlone Nation, the sovereign nation and original people of the skies, lands, and waters where we learn and work. The Muwekma Ohlone people are the stewards of these lands and of the teaching and learning that comes from and responds to the needs of the land and people who share it. May our daily lives and work, learning, teaching, and community engagement support the evolving vision of the Muwekma Ohlone for their community and these lands. Now I'm going to read the mission statement. The Franklin-McKinley School District will ensure all eighth grade student graduates have the skills and knowledge to be ready for a college preparatory curriculum in high school. They all will have the ability to pursue a program preparing them for university and or careers in lifelong learning. So now we'll move on to item 3.02, the flag salute presented by our very own Los Arboles Color Guard.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please remove your hats for the presentation of the colors? Color Guard advance. Please join me of the allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, visible with liberty and justice for all. Prepare to post the colors. Post the colors. Thank you. Please be seated.
My name is Maria Elena Oyoki Sandoval, and I'm representing the Los Arboles School. Name is Anthony Cataneo. I'm a third grader from Los Arboles School. I came here tonight with my family.
My name is Ronnie Fan. I went to Los Arboles Elementary School. I'm in third grade, and my family's here.
My name is Jacob Sika, and I'm in third grade. My teacher's name is Stephanie Starkey Brown, and I came here with my mom and my stepdad.
My name is Abraham Mejia Contreras, and I came with my two moms. And I'm in third grade, and my teacher is Miss O'Grady.
Can we give another round of applause for our lovely color guard? Thank you so much, parents, for bringing our lovely color guard out here to present the flags for us. We will continue with our meeting, but you are free to go at this point, unless you want to stay. So now we'll move on to item 3.03, approve, disapprove additions to the agenda. Board members? None? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 3.04, approve, disapprove order to the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 3.05, report of action taken in closed session. Superintendent Cruz?
Yes, the board unanimously approved the amended minutes for March 22nd, 2022. There are no other actions to report.
Perfect. Thank you, Juan. We will now move on to item 4, oral communications. Members of the public may address the board on any issue within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board or agenda items. Members of the public may also address the board on consent items before the board's consideration of the items. In accordance with Board Bylaw 9323, individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each unless otherwise stipulated. No action can be taken on any agenda items at this time. Questions may be referred to the administration or put on a future agenda. At this time, is there anyone who would like to make an oral communication? Speak. Juan, do we have any? No? Okay. Thank you for that. Then we will move on to item 5, recognition. 5.01, recognition of FMSD employee Anne Marie Cessity.
Yes, thank you, Board President. We wanted to take this time to publicly recognize one of our employees. Anne-Marie is one of our dispatchers, is our dispatcher in transportation, and she aided a young man that needed her help as she was going to pick up her son from CCA, and she saw a student in distress and decided to turn around and help the young man and get aid to him, and as a result, he got the necessary support and also supported law enforcement in their apprehending the individuals that had caused them some harm. I had asked her to come. She chose that she didn't do it for recognition, but I thought it was still important for us to publicly recognize her aiding this young man. And I will take the time next couple of days to go over to transportation and thank her personally. It just shows the kind of person and the kind of family that we have here in FMSD that will go out of their way to help somebody in need.
Thank you so much, Juan. And to Anne Marie Cessity. Members to Manuel.
I just want to say thank you very much as well. Father, makes me very, very happy to know that someone's willing to act. It really does. Seriously, very, very much. Actions.
Thank you, Manuel. Other board members want to?
Well, I also want to thank Anne Marie for her brave actions. And who knows what would have happened had she just driven off, you know, and not come back to provide assistance to this young man. So, but we're glad that we have employees like Anne Marie in our district who will do whatever they can to help our students and students from other school districts too. So anyway, so I'm glad that we're giving her this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, George. And Juan, please send her our thanks on the board's behalf. We will now move on to item number 6, information, discussion, and/or action items. 6.01, 2020-2021 Annual Report of the FMSD Citizens Bond Oversight Committee and the disbursement of funds under the H&R bond measure. I believe Veronica is making a surprise appearance to FMSD to present on this.
Hello, good evening.
We
board.
brought her back from retirement.
That's the surprise.
Yes.
Sounds familiar.
I'm back. It is, yeah. So have up on the screens, I am a little rusty. It's been a little bit, so so as you can see, this is just our annual presentation. This is for 2021 that we are presenting to the board for Measure H and Measure R. Okay, camera. It's not moving. Well, I'm using the arrows and enter and it's not going anywhere. Okay, so agenda for tonight would be introductions of the membership. And I do want to highlight a few things when we get there. A little schedule of our meetings that we proposed for this or that year for 21. The financial report, which you have in your packets. So I will not be going over that page by page unless you have a question. And then our presentation of compliance by our chairman, Kevin Rumley, who is on the Citizens Oversight Committee. And then, of course, any questions. Our memberships currently right now, we are vacant by 3. So any assistance that we could get in trying to, COVID has been really hard. It's been really tough, of course, you know, in Zooms. So we have lost 3 members for that. And unfortunately, tonight is also Kevin's last duty with us as well. So we will be down to 3 members. So yeah, so I want to, you know, they could each sit on the board on the committee for 3 terms, so a total of 6 years if they would like. We attempt to meet at least a minimum of 3 years as stated in our bylaws. We have 90 days in which to fill the positions. And unfortunately, these 3 kind of came off of our slate when I got here. So not sure if we're going to be able, I have advertised in the newspaper as our bylaws require. Information to all the campuses has gone out, principals. It is on our website as well, that anybody has a little bullet on the first page. And then we have the applications in 3 languages on the website, as well as sent via link to all of our sites. So this is the dates that we tried to have some of the meetings. And as you can tell, there's been no quorum. We've only really had 1 meeting, which was the facilities tour. So, and it's hard because a lot of our members, again, it's just, I think with COVID, it's really put a little damper on everybody. So I'm really hoping in the future that we'll be able to get everybody back together again. So planned meetings, I'm planning to have one on the 27th of this month with, you know, quorum is at least 2 of the 3. So I'm hoping that we could get two of the three. We have offered babysitting. I've offered picking people up. I've offered, dinner if that's what it takes. But it's still just really tough to get somebody from the schools. So, and then of course, as I said, the overview of the financial report is in your packet. So if there's any questions that you have, we can definitely get them to you.
Board members, do we have any questions on the financial report at this time? Yeah, Manuel?
So if you needed assistance in terms of finding bodies, is there some blurb that we can hand them in terms of saying, here we go? Because now this is the first that, as a new board member, that I'm hearing that there's an opportunity to kind of go out and look for folks, and I'm committed to trying to find some folks if that's
Yes.
okay.
Yes, we do have a flyer. We do have the applications, as I said, in 3 languages. I can send you the link, or Juan can send you the information. So definitely, we do have that. We have a copy of the bylaws. And I believe Jason is getting the bylaws translated also currently into the 3 languages, which we did not have before. So definitely, we can definitely use your help. That would be really.
Yeah, and I'll send that out to all the board members.
Okay.
I'm also reaching out to the neighborhood associations, as those are folks that are normally engaged in the community as already. And obviously they live within our boundaries. So I'll be reaching out to them to see if there's ways for us to fill at least the large members. Obviously the Taxpayers Association is a very unique role, but at least the others trying to fill those.
Yeah, thank you. And so now I will bring up Kevin so that he can just confirm that we are within compliance. You have in your packet the signed report by William Becker, who could not make it tonight, so Kevin is presenting for us.
Good evening, board. I just want to tell you, I've been on the board for 2 years. I was going to take this position, but you guys made a mistake. You hired me as the lunchroom person at Dow, so I can't do it. But I enjoyed it, and I'm very glad that my granddaughter goes to Franklin-McKinley School District. Very good. Okay, start. The Measure H and R Citizen Bond Oversight Committee concluded that during the period covered by this report, that the work being done by the district is in compliance with the article of the California Proposition 39, Measure H and R. Measure H and R Citizen Board Oversight Committee Annual Report submitted April 12th, 2022 by Chairman Kevin Rumley on behalf of William Becker. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And if I could, thank you for your time on the Citizens Bond Oversight. I mean, this is one, it's an unpaid, totally voluntary committee. And I've attended some of their meetings and they are very, very thorough in the questions they ask in the projects and how, the money is being spent, which is the role of the oversight, not to make decisions about projects and how to spend the money, but that we are within the law and what we put on the ballot, and that we are complying with that as well, and making sure that we're good stewards of the money that the public has entrusted us. So thank you for your service on the committee. I know that you guys take it very, very seriously in terms of how the district is spending these funds.
I would also, sir, I would like to thank Veronica for trying to see if I could stay. And I appreciate that because I'm not here to pound my drum, but I've given over 39,000 hours to this county for what my other job I do. So I appreciate every one of you guys and what you do for the school.
Board members, do we have anything to say? Rudy?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment, no questions, But, you know, without our bond oversight committee, we wouldn't be so successful in getting them passed, you know, when we need them, when we could use the money for our schools to help construction and maintenance of our schools. So through all the years that I've been on the board, I really appreciate everything that our bond oversight committees have done with our measures that we have passed. And I think the public sees that, you all are holding the bonds accountable for using the money correctly and not having any questions or issues come up. And with that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your volunteerism. I know that you're going to continue with Dahl, right?
Yes, because that's pay. And for the county.
That's okay.
For the county, next year will be 40 years as a reserve captain with the sheriff's office.
Wow.
I've seen it all. And as you know, our county had the worst problem back in, I think it was, I can't remember now, but the thing at the VTA, that was a bad day for all of us, especially
Right.
in law enforcement. And so, yes, I'll continue. If I leave Dow, I'm going to come back and work for you guys for free. I enjoy that. So, again, thank you very much.
And thank you.
Okay, thank you. That ends our presentation. So if there's any questions or
Members, do you have anything to ask?
No.
The CBOC?
I just want to say, thank you, Kevin, for all your work and the other committee members. And I did thank him in private, but now I'm thanking him publicly, you know, for the tremendous service and the time, you know, because anything like this involves time, you know, the free time, you know, but again, you make the district a better place for our children. And that's what it's about. So again, thank you and continue the good work.
thank you, board.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. Thank you. So now we will move on to consent items, and I will read this out for consent items 7, 8, and 9. Members of the public may address the board on consent items before the board's consideration of the items. In accordance with board bylaws 9323, individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each unless otherwise stipulated. Is there anyone in the public that would like to speak on consent items at this time? Seeing none, board members, is there any items within 7, 8, or 9 that you would like to pull? Consent items? Seeing none, I will then entertain a motion for item 7.
Mr. President, I move that we approve items 7.01 through 7.06.
Second,
Item 7.01 through 7.06 has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Aye, and that is unanimous. Moving on to consent items over 25,000. Board members?
Move to approve consent items 8.01 to 8.03.
Second,
Consent items 8.01 through 8.03 has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that is unanimous. Moving on to item 9, construction items. Board members?
I move that we approve items 9.01 through 9.06.
Second,
Items 9.01 through 9.06 has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Aye, and that is unanimous. Moving on to action items, 10.01 personnel report. Vice President Rodriguez.
Okay, Mr. President, I move that the personnel report be approved as submitted and that the employment for the following employee be approved. Liliana Arias, Secretary 1 at Los Arboles, effective 4/11/22. And the resignation for the following employee be approved. Lynn Chang, teacher at Kennedy, effective 6/30/22.
second,
Item 10.01, the personnel report has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that's unanimous. Moving on to 10.02, March 22, 2022, board meeting minutes. Board members, take a few minutes to review this and I'll entertain a motion at any time.
Mr. President, I move to approve item 10.02, the March 22nd, 2022 board meeting minutes.
Second.
Item 10.02, the March 22nd, 2022 board meeting minutes has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. That's unanimous, and we're moving on to item 10.03, reporting on delegating authority to take the necessary action to protect students and staff from the spread of coronavirus. Superintendent Cruz.
Yes, thank you. So last week marked the first week that our students and staff had the option of not wearing their mask outdoors. We continue to require the mask while indoors for all staff and students. That will expire, or we will make that change effective at the end of the month of April. I've been monitoring the positive cases to make sure that we're on solid ground in regards to the different changes that we're making. We've also made some additional changes in regards to the staff being able to now eat in the lounge, and also making sure that students have the ability to take their pictures, their class pictures, without using their mask if they choose to. Students are still, and staff are supported in their use of masks in those situations as well. So we're starting to make some different changes, small changes here and there, leading up to the change at the end of the month. I'm encouraged by the numbers that we have, from the height of January. As we know, that was the height of the spike that we saw countywide with the Omicron, where we reported about 10% positive rates in the district, to last month going down to 1%. So we're encouraged by the numbers. We'll still continue to monitor the situation, and we are continuing to have staff and students test weekly, as well as we are going to be sending the test kits on Friday for all staff and students to be able to test prior to coming back after the spring break. And so again, we're doing everything we can to get to whatever normal is going to be moving forward, but also being cautious and having some things in place to ensure that the safety of staff and students is still a priority. We will also be transitioning to having in-person promotions. I think I've said that before, and I've met with the administrators. We have a schedule, being finalized, and those days will be provided to the board as soon as I finalize all the details of that. That's another step of getting back to some level of normal, celebrations with our students as they go off to, ninth grade. I will also be, if things continue the way they are, we will return to our annual staff celebration outdoors here at Shirakawa in the month of May. I'll be finalizing the date of that. But again, as long as the numbers continue to be the way they are right now, we will be able to do that this year once again. At this point, I'll stop there and ask if the board has any questions.
Rudy?
Yeah. One, did I read somewhere that we're also doing at some school sites vaccinations and booster shots as well?
Yeah, so we work closely with the county and offer our facilities for them to be able to use and host mobile clinics at our sites. I do believe the next one coming up that just went out was it's going to be at Windmill. I think it's tomorrow. I'd have to go back and check the date.
Is it walk up, no appointment?
No appointments, walk up for both children and adults, and also for the boosters for those that are eligible.
Is it for anybody? They don't have to be a school parent or?
Anybody in the community.
It's tomorrow from 2 to 7 at Windmill.
Windmill Springs. Yes, so we'll continue to partner with the county to make sure that we make it available within our community, because that eliminates a lot of barriers, transportation, those kinds of things when we have it at our schools.
Does any board member have any other questions for Juan?
Oh, I just had a comment. I'm glad that we're going back to the in-person graduation ceremony. So look forward to seeing the calendar of those when it comes out. So thank you for those news, Juan.
Definitely. This is a great trend to hear about, Juan, and to see that our numbers are so low at this point. I'm really happy to hear that. And then the other thing is, did you say we're projected to end the indoors mask mandate by the end of April?
Yeah, so the end of April is when we had indicated that we would end the requirement of indoor masking. What we're saying, right, is important to how this is framed. It is not that we don't want them to wear masks. It is that it's not required to wear masks. We still want to encourage. And what we've seen in other districts, as I've asked a lot of other superintendents across the county, is that they're seeing actually 50% or even greater percent of their staff and students have continued to wear their mask, even though it's not required. And I think we understand sort of what that is, the importance of that. And so, and like I said last time when I asked our students at Meadows, they said, I'm glad that we don't have to, and that if we choose to, and many of them had said that they were going to choose to wear it. So again, the messaging is going to be, we still recommend and want you to wear it, but you don't have to, and there's no negative consequences for not wearing it.
That's a great message.
I think,
Rudy?
yeah, what's really nice about this area here is because we don't have a mask mandate in our stores and, in public. You don't have to wear a mask. What's nice is if people wear a mask, nobody's criticizing them. That's their choice, and they feel more comfortable wearing a mask. So I have yet to see anybody, because I've been to the stores and sometimes I walk in and I see people not wearing masks, so I take my mask off because I'm comfortable with it. But I like that our public, and especially in our schools, our parents they want to keep their children safe. So they're making the choice on their children wearing a mask. And I think that's what's important.
Is there any other questions for Juan at this time, board members? If not, then thank you, Superintendent Cruz, for that update. So speaking of normalcy, the next item is 10.04, out-of-state travel for Board Member Sanchez to travel to the NILEO conference in Chicago, Illinois.
Yes, as required by board policy for travel outside the state, we bring this for your consideration for Board Member Sanchez to be able to attend the NILEO conference in Chicago.
I just wanted to say that this is the first time NILEO has its conference in 3 years. So they haven't had one. For that period of time, they canceled. Last year's was supposed to be in Las Vegas. That was canceled. And then before that, in Los Angeles, that was canceled. So now they want to go back to having a full in-person conference once more. And NILEO always has a strand in education. So you get a feel for what's going on, not only in California, because we're familiar with, but throughout the nation, what's going on in the other states. And so you have a strong sense of what's happening in the world of education throughout the nation. They also have a health strand, which is really important in terms of Latino health and what's going on there, with the Latino population at large. And so anyway, but I always get valuable information, and I'll definitely bring a full report back to the board on my return from this conference.
Please do. Thank you. I think Rudy?
I was going to move to approve the out-of-state travel for Board Member Sanchez to attend the 39th NILEO conference in Chicago, Illinois.
Item 10.04 has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And thank you very much, everyone.
Now we will move on to item 10.05, resolution number 2022-19, Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. I believe that's Board Member Berta.
Yes, so this is an annual resolution we bring to recognize May as Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. And there's actually quite a bit of information in the resolution itself. And a lot of that follows the content that we teach in our classrooms, everything from, the history of Japanese internment and the resilience there to Filipino-American migrant workers. And so I think it's really important that we continue to teach all the history regarding Asian American Pacific Islanders, particularly in the month of May, as a way to remind ourselves that everyone's identity deserves to be recognized and learned about for both, the AAPI students, but also for everyone else that we teach that in our schools. And that there's a large diversity there too, right? When we talk about Asian American Pacific Islanders, it's not just one group in East Asia. It's a very large span of individuals from many, many, many different countries, speaking many, many different languages. And so also becoming more familiarized with that ourselves.
Well, thank you so much for bringing this resolution forward, Member of Silbert. Board members, do we have any discussion or questions on this?
I want to thank Board Member Moimona for bringing it forward also. And it's something that we're always very proud to approve resolutions of this type, because we value diversity. Our district is comprised of many, many different groups from come here from throughout the world. And so I'm glad that we are moving forward with this resolution on this evening. Thank you.
Rudy?
And yeah, I just want to thank you, Maimona, for bringing this forward. And also we have approved this in the past, but this one looks more inclusive of all the areas which George said earlier. So the APA community is not just, 2 countries or 3 countries. It's actually a lot more than that. So I appreciate you including all of that in the resolution, because we are a very diverse school district, and recognizing all heritages during that month of the APA countries is nice to do. Very good. Thank you.
Board members, I'll entertain a motion at any time.
Move that we approve resolution 2022-19 Asian Pacific American Heritage Month.
And second.
Item 10.05, resolution number 2022-19 Asian Pacific American Heritage Month has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. We're now moving on to item 10.06, second reading of the regulation 3515A FMSD video camera safety.
Yes, thank you. So we're bringing this back as a second reading. As you can notice on the attachments, we went ahead and attached the version that has the new text. So from the first reading, based on feedback, we went ahead and added additional text to make sure that the language was clear in regards to the purpose of what the cameras are for. And so you can see the red text, and that's all new language. And then obviously the ones that are struck out is language that we're proposing to eliminate. One change that I would like to make that was not done prior to this is the strikeout on the red part at the very top that starts with any information that we would strike out and for law enforcement purposes as to amend the current language as presented. The board can go ahead and approve it with that change tonight, or if you would like to have the public give further input, we can bring it back at the next meeting. It is your prerogative in regards to how to proceed at this point, but this is the language we're proposing in regards to the installation and the monitoring of the video surveillance from our cameras.
Board members, do we have any questions on this discussion?
I just want to say this is really a solid safety measure for our schools. And we have it at the high schools, of course, in the east side. And the camera equipment is incredible, what you can pick up and prevent damage to your property, and or take action when damage has been done. And so that's something that I'm looking forward to in terms of having cameras of this type on every one of our school sites. So thank you for bringing that forward, Superintendent.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that we wanted to really address here, and I want to thank, Board Member Elsa Alberta to really pushing us to think about, not to use this as a way to continue in some ways, the criminalization of students. And that's why sort of the emphasis on, not necessarily for the purpose for law enforcement, but rather, continuing with our practice that this board has really taken a stance in regards to making sure that we're always using the opportunity to support students, to have them learn about, from their mistakes and not necessarily, having to involve law enforcement for things that we should be addressing, internally. So I mean, that was really an important piece that we wanted to have this policy that would live beyond the administration, beyond the board, in regards to the spirit of what we intend to use the cameras and protecting students. So I want to thank Board Member Alberta for just having that lens and giving us feedback as we presented the first reading.
Rudy?
Yeah, Juan, did we, remind me, did we have town hall meetings on this subject with any parents in the district?
No, I mean, we've said that we were planning and to install cameras as we've gone to different meetings. That's not been something that has been not discussed, but we didn't have town hall meetings in regards to the projects.
So they're going to be installed this summer then?
They're already being installed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So can we, like, maybe at the beginning or at the beginning of next year, maybe offer some town halls to get feedback if there's any concerns or any questions from the parents?
I mean, we can certainly do that. We can also piggyback on our LCAP meetings and make sure that we share that. One of the things that is on there as well as that we would be also including this in the annual notification for parents in the parent-student handbook, so that they're well aware that we have these cameras, that the purpose for why they're there and those kinds of things. I know that, that was one of the things that kept coming up at a lot of meetings in terms of why, do you have cameras? And if you don't, why not? Because, they are used to some of the other schools, especially the high schools that do have them. There was a point in time when even one of the PTAs was trying to fundraise for them to, fund and install cameras. And we said, look, this is something that's already in the pipeline for the district. And there's no need for you to use your hard-earned fundraise money for this purpose. So it's not.
I believe most of our parents are probably going to be in support of this. But, invariably, we're probably going to have a few parents that are going to be like, what? You have cameras on my kid, my child in school? What rights are being taken from them, to say something. So I just want to make sure that we do be proactive enough to minimize that risk as much as we can, even though for the majority, this is probably a good thing.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why there's no audio. No one can just go in and see the footage. It will report over every 30 days. So there's some safety guards that we put in there to really protect students and staff from any misuse of this.
Then my second question is, I notice on number 4 on the second page, it says you've crossed out video files copies will be distributed. That's not going to be done.
Yeah.
But you still have the release of all video files to law enforcement will need to be approved by the superintendent when subpoenaed in connection with an ongoing law enforcement investigation as allowed by law. So they still can be provided to law enforcement if there's a reason.
Right.
For example, an incident.
If a court is compelling us to do so, yes. But they would have had to ask for it earlier for us to retain it. Otherwise, within 30 days, it is taped over. So if there's an incident that happens and we're asked to retain it, we will retain it and only hand it over through a subpoena. And so that's why I was very specific that it had to come through the superintendent's office and not any other staff member being able to release that footage.
Okay, so what if there is an incident and you said it's recorded over in 30 days, but due to the incident, the courts, you know how long it takes sometimes. What if the subpoena doesn't come till after 30 days? It's too late?
No. So we would have to be notified of the incident and a request to retain the footage. We would then retain it, but not hand it over unless it's subpoenaed
Got it.
by the court.
Okay.
Yeah, but if they came back and said there was an incident 2 months ago, can you look at it? There won't be any way for us to do so because it will be taped over.
Do we have any other questions, Manuel?
What about exigent circumstances? So student goes missing at the end of the day. They're kidnapped. Law enforcement doesn't have time to get a subpoena. What do?
So we still can review it, and we would then be able to provide information that is relevant for law enforcement. That's why it says as needed, a law enforcement investigation as allowed by law. Law allows us to be able to collaborate with the law enforcement when students, is at risk. So we would be able to see it. We would be able to then provide information that would be relevant for that situation.
And what I'm seeing as the operative word there is the word or. And so even though that line kind of goes up and touches the O, the word or is preserved because that's in the alternative.
Right.
Where law enforcement has an exigent circumstance that doesn't have time to go run it to a court.
Correct. That the or is not stricken out.
Maywona?
Well, first, I just want to thank Superintendent Cruz for his willingness to look at the language and to push ourselves as a district to consider, are we kind of collaborating with the school to prison pipeline? Are we really thinking critically about all of our tools and how we're using them with this proposed language? The other thing that I wanted to mention is, or actually ask Superintendent Cruz, just for everyone's clarity as well. We know Ed Code does not, says that you cannot record. There's some language about recording students in Ed Code. Can you clarify with these security cameras how that does not, prevent us through Ed Code?
Yeah, so part of that is the notification. So we are only allowed that by having clear notices at the school, at any building that says that you are being recorded. That's one. Two, the notification of parents and students that this is in place. Three, that we have to have steps in which to protect the viewing and the distribution of the files. And then four, which is then there's no identifying like the student's name attached to the video, so as to, and then making that public. So those are the things that are allowed for the cameras to be used from that standpoint for the safety and protection of staff, students, and our facilities. So that's why it's allowed. If we didn't do those things, then it wouldn't be allowed, because we would be recording not only students, but recording individuals without their knowledge. That's not allowed by law.
And so again, the intent is not to be, videotaping classrooms and students and instruction. That's not the intent of these security cameras.
Exactly. So it
Just
can,
clarified in
yes.
the policy.
Thank you for that. It cannot be in private areas where people would have that's a it's reasonable. Exactly. And so, and they're not going to be inside classrooms. They're not going to be in locker rooms and restrooms and these areas that people have a privacy as a standard. It really is about our facilities. And then obviously in situations where there are no adults and something happened, that allows us to really understand what happened and then take the appropriate action as if somebody had seen it, right? And not go beyond that. As you know, we just heard from our bond oversight committee, we've invested a lot in our facilities, and And this is one way to deter people from coming and damaging our facilities. And then when they do so, that we're able to potentially, find out exactly what happened.
It's like having a dash cam on your car. Board members, do you have any questions on this? Any other questions? No? Okay, I am very impressed with the language of this, the second reading, so I'll entertain a motion.
I would like to move forward on item 10.06, the second reading of the regulation 3515A FMSD video camera safety.
With the amendment.
With the, yes, minor change. Thank you.
Second.
Item 10.06 has been moved with the amendment and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Now we will move on to item 11, communications from our superintendent, Superintendent Cruz.
Yes, I had the opportunity to have my first meeting in Sacramento, and I'll just say that there's a lot of work that the committee does on behalf of our districts, our students, and our staff, and so I'm just very excited about the opportunity to be part of that. And I want to thank the board for your allowing me to be able to serve in that capacity. There's 2 meetings every other month. And so I think that, the lens that we can bring to that committee and making sure that we're protecting our students and really, the next steps that are taking from the commission will be on the teacher preparation of our UPK3 credential, which is going to be important in terms of how California makes sure that those that are teaching are the youngest of our students are prepared and qualified to do the best they can for our youngest learners as well. So I just want to thank the board for your support in this and looking forward to serving in that capacity. And then I'll just looking forward to spring break. It's been a long haul since the winter break, and I know our staff are looking forward to spring break. And so I will be taking maybe 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, and hopefully some of you are also being able to take some time off. But just appreciate the support. We're in the home stretch here, and looking forward to our celebrations at the end of the year like we have in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. We'll move on to item 12, communications from Board of Education, 12.01, board member reports. And today we'll start with Manuel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to say, obviously, thank all of the staff throughout the district, but I particularly wanted to once again just highlight the folks at CCA for, keeping everything calm and together during that event that occurred a few weeks, not even days ago, honestly. I think it was like not that long ago, but still, again, we in today's world, when you have the news going out about, having a situation where there could some stressful times, I was very impressed with the way that people handled it. And, as a parent, kind of just listening from afar, I had full faith and confidence that things were going to be done in a safe and orderly way. And everything I've heard and seen, that seems to have been the case. Obviously, we can always learn from this experience as we've been touched by it, as many other folks have been touched by it and do better. But, I just wanted to say thank you as a parent from the bottom of my heart, because that is not something you want to see kind of popping up on your phone.
Rudy?
Okay, so I had the pleasure of being a taste tester for food service lunch. They were experimenting with some new approved nutrition meals. So I went to Shirakawa and had lunch with Jason Wen as well. And they served some fried vegetable rice, an egg roll and chicken, popcorn chicken that were covered with, gosh, I can't, sweet and sour. And I also had a little tour of the cafeteria and to see how everything goes. And I'm so impressed with everything. And I'm not a rice person, but the rice was so good. I ate the whole thing. Obviously, it was not a big portion. It was a smaller portion, which was perfect for me because I don't eat that much anymore, getting older and older. But I was very impressed. And I did get a comment, an email from another staff person at a different school saying that they found out I did that. And sometimes when rumors go around, they get twisted and they don't have all the facts. So they were thinking that it was the same that they got before. And I said, no, this is completely different. I even sent a picture of it because I took a picture. And so I think it cleared up a lot of questions. And what's really nice is that that we're moving forward with some new ideas that are nutritional and meet the nutrition standards for our students, our kids. And I also saw the vegetable and fruit cart, and it also held milk in there. And it was really nice seeing the students going and picking out an orange or an apple, and then also grabbing their milk, and reminded me of days when we used to deliver milk to the classrooms, but that's ages ago. And yes, they were cartons, they weren't bottles. So, but I'm not that old, but it was really good to visit the school and to see that at Chiricahua. And we really, really owe the interim principal, Kathy, a lot of gratitude because she has really helped that school, even though she's come out of retirement a little bit to help out like board member Sanchez does it in other districts. But our retirees really deserve a lot of credit for coming back to the schools. And we have a few more that have come back. They deserve a lot of credit for coming back and helping our district in this time of need of staff and principals. So it was nice to visit.
Thank you, Rudy. George?
Well, just a couple of quick things. I attended the Santa Clara County School Boards Association annual or monthly meeting. And one thing that is coming up that you may want to attend is the Hoffman Awards Dinner. It's coming on May 12th, May 11th. That's going to be at Michael's at Shoreline. Probably most of you have been there. So it's going to take place at 6 p.m. On that date, May 11th. And it's always I always have a good program honoring five outstanding programs in the district. And one thing they look at the programs is if they can be replicated. So other districts look at it and they say, hey, this is really something that we should have in our district. And that's one of the things looked at in terms of the replication of those programs. So anyway, so that's when it will take place on May 11th at Michael's Shoreline. And that's all I have today. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Ramona?
Yes, I was able to attend the Special Education District Advisory Committee last week or the week before, right after the previous board meeting. But we got some updated information on what MTSS is going to look like, or how special education is also looking at MTSS and what the levels and layers of support are, and kind of like re-looking at, how collaboration takes place between general education and special education. And then even before special education, what are the types of interventions? How are we keeping track of that? So it was really great discussion. And then we also got information on the, I guess, the core literacy blocks and planning for that. So I just thought it was really, really great information and discussion. I think it's really going to help us keep track of what we're trying to implement, but also being able to monitor, what we're doing as well. And then I just also wanted to wish everyone who's celebrating a happy Ramadan, Passover and Easter coming up as well. It's a convergence of several, special times for many, many individuals. And I think it's just a reminder that, we live in such a diverse area, and it's great to see folks coming together. There's been a lot of activities as well. And on that note, just quickly mentioning, I was able to share some information. I want to thank Superintendent Cruz for also sharing that with the staff on Ramadan, but also an important guide that came out in the LA Times that I was able to be a part of just things to be mindful of for Ramadan and fasting, specifically for school-age children. So if you're interested in learning more about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Maimona. I'll make it real short for everyone today. I have no report. We'll move on to item 12.02, agenda item requests. Board members, do we have any agenda item requests at this time?
And just so that you know, I will be putting dates to the ones that are there, and you'll have those dates for the next one.
Thank you for that one. Item 13, future business, we have none. Item 14, future meeting dates. Our next meeting is April 26, 2022 at 7 p.m. And you can read the rest at your own time. Item 15, closed session if necessary. There is no reason to go to closed session. So we're at item 16, adjournment. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have adjournment has been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we are adjourned at 9:01 p.m.